what is the biggest mind shift that helped you go from surviving to thriving 25? Because I think there's been a lot of noise. There's a lot of news that goes on. We've had one of the worst affordability for clients right now. So I'm going to throw that to Karen real quick to get started here.
So how did I go to thriving? I don't know, Jer. So this year has been hard. It's been hard for everybody. I definitely keep the news in the background and I focus on positivity. That's how I wake up every day. Somebody told me a very long time ago, we wake up unemployed every day in real estate until you sell something. That may not serve everybody, but it serves me and it gets me up and it gets me moving. The team drives me, but positivity 100%. Jared, should I get into some of the stuff that's gone on?
Honey. Like, you guys, this is about going like personal, deep, the whole 9 yards, because guess what? We all go through things. So go for it, honey.
Jared's known me for 5 years. He's watched us through a lot of things, heart attacks, strokes. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and he kept me laughing. And so did my team. And I have always erred on the glass is half full kind of person. And I feel like that prepared me for breast cancer. So we got through that. And then this year, our son went into alcohol rehab for a month. And if you want to talk about getting back, getting knocked down and getting back up, I feel like I'm the queen of it. And people say, how do you do it? And I choose joy. I choose to dance around my kitchen. I choose to laugh. I choose to focus on the positive. Negativity has no place in my life. I wouldn't let the doctors tell me what stage cancer I had because there was no way I was walking around with that number in my head. I had to do this my way and I had to focus on the positive. And believe me, there was times that I was scared. There was times that I cried, but I knew that I had to stay in front of this. And mindset is huge. And if I can wake up every day, drag my ass to the office. So the joke was, nobody knew I had breast cancer. So women, do you know what the halo is? It's like that fish string thing. It has like hair on the back. I would put that on and put a baseball cap on. And there were days after chemo, and the team can attest to this, I literally would crawl up the stairs. I didn't miss a meeting. I didn't miss a Zoom call. The team protected me and they drove me. And I showed up for them every day. And I would come up and I'd take the hat off and I would just have this string of, they called me Joe Dirt. So I would just have this string of hair. I showed up every day because they made me laugh. And I needed that. And they didn't treat me differently. It was like, okay, what's the team meeting about? What are we talking about? And you've got to surround yourself with the tribe. And I have the best tribe around. And Jeremiah and Pip and Mel and Jen have been added to that. And they lift me up and they carry me. And you've got to find your tribe. You've got to find not just your why, but what wakes you, what gets you out of bed every day. And not letting my team down and finding the joy and finding the silver lining. That's what I thrive on.
Okay. Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah. Love you, darling. And that is the whole thing. Like, not only are we going through things with our own life, like we have a lot of clients that are going through that same thing, right? And we have to lead with grace and with everybody's situation. It's definitely something. And like you said, it's hard sometimes to get up every single day and put on that smile and go help clients when there's so much stuff in our own lives that are pressing, So thank you for sharing that, Karen. Like, I just want to, you guys, this is what it's all about. It's about being authentic. Today, it's about, talking about, yes, all the good tips and tricks, but also about what we can do for each other as agents to support, because you never know what somebody is going through. So just be there, send that text message. And that's the same thing to our clients as well, right? We don't know, my God, they're not getting back to me. They're ghosting me, right? They might be going through something very traumatic, and it's, and we're guiding people through some of the hardest things of their life. So
share with therapists. I remember when my dad died and it had been a couple of months and my mom calls me. I'm like, where are you? She's like, I'm in Wegmans, and she's bawling. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I need to buy a watermelon. I'm like, okay. And she's like, I can't move. And I'm like, why? She goes, because daddy always picked the watermelon. And she's in Wegmans and bawling. You don't know what people are going through. You have no idea. Joe, we go on listing appointments and Joe's like, kiddo, just get to listing appointment and you can go back to bed. And I'd be, you put on a show. You're here. It's great. Nobody knows I have breast cancer. Let's get the listing appointment. And you're like, get in the car and you're like, oh my God, you don't know what people are going through. And you have to raise them up when you feel like you need to be raised up. It's part of our job.
Perfect. All right. So let's go to Ashley here. So how has mindset, especially because you are newer on the Preferred platform, how has mindset really helped you in your business?
It's everything. Like Karen said, I wake up every day and I have a little mantra I tell myself, I'm a ray of sunshine. And I may add some other words in there that are not friendly for StreamYard or Zoom today. But that's my way of reminding myself, like what I feel, that's what I put out to the world. That's what other people experience in me. That's how I connect with people. And so when I tell myself I'm a ray of sunshine, that's how I show up for my day, right? And that's how people experience me. And, not every day is a ray of sunshine. We experience so many different things, so many different personalities, so many different situations. Like Karen said, like we are almost the counselor in the center of, the tornado that can sometimes be a real estate transaction. Finding a way to kind of push that aside for a little bit and recenter myself in my priorities. So my family and achieving my goals always comes first. And when I can remind myself of that, even if I'm having a tough day and I don't want to get on that phone and go find that next client, or I don't want to take that incoming call from Zillow, or I don't want to respond to that lead or that agent or that whatever has just come in because I feel that stress rise up, I remind myself, I center myself in my goals. Everything I do is for my family and for our future and what we're building. And at the end of the day, that can pull me through anything. And when I stay centered in that, I'm able to show up as my best self and help as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm going to pick on Melisa Anderson. If you don't know, she is my sister. So I'm going to really throw her. Here comes the bus, Mel. Here comes the bus. When you hit a slump and you want to quit, how did you get yourself out of that? Mel, we're going to get that audio back up here shortly. So while Mel's doing that, Matt, I'm going to go to you. That mindset of starting Preferred with all sorts of things, what was the mindset that you and your team had to, transitioning from Premier, Zillow Premier to Zillow Preferred or Zillow Flex?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jer. I mean, it goes back to the overall mindset as well. So, and it leans itself to Preferred. So Ben Kinney actually said something on stage at 1 year at Rise that hit me hard, and I probably repeated it to my team over 1,000 times. This business can be broken down as simply as know what to say and have enough people to say it to. And Zillow Preferred is taking care of the second part of that, right? Which is where a lot of agents struggle. So if you can put everything else aside and understand that the second piece of that is done for you, and you're being handed these leads that are way further down in the funnel than what you're used to generating yourself. And then you can work on all you need to do is work on your conversion. And that's something that you can totally control through your effort and your practice and reps. You really can control everything in your business. You only have to worry about this one part of it. And the beautiful thing about Zillow Preferred, if you're doing the right things, if you're converting, if you're following the process, your pipeline's never going to be dry. So you can really just worry about practice, the reps, and making sure you're servicing these people, these prospects, while in the background, you're building your business by design that you really, truly want to, right? So when we're looking at this as, hey, these are bottom of the funnel, we need to change our mindset and remember when we get these leads in from Zillow Preferred, in what world are we pretending that when we generate our own leads, it's someone's entering our world when they're ready to go see a house and put an offer in? They start way higher in the funnel than that a lot of times. So when we change our mindset to understand that, and this is really kind of our churn and burn business, ready to roll business, ready to get paid business that we can service in a really high way if we practice the reps and practice the routines of servicing the client, it gives everyone a real head start on building the business that you really dream of and creates the freedom and the leverage. So once we started looking at these leads as that, it really changed the game for us.
Very well said. I think that's, because we've probably this show of hands and probably in every watch party, if us as preferred agents and we tell other agents that we are Zillow Preferred, they're like, you are a Zillow Preferred agent? Why do you support them? And they don't understand the opportunity that this gives our agents. It's not, I think this is the biggest thing. It's not about us as team leaders. We are giving our agents an opportunity to build their pipeline and their past client list faster than any other lead source out there. I am 110%. So I'm going to go, hopefully I turn the bus around and it's coming back for Mel, because I tell you guys, Zillow sometimes is hard. So let's see here. Mel, why don't you leave studio and come back in and see if that will work for you. So we're going to do that. Mel's going to come out. So let's talk about that, Karen. Like, what has, like, while Mel goes back in, what has that mindset of, how do you transition that to your agents when they're in a slump?
We've all been there. And I think that's one of the things that I probably struggle with the most as a team leader. I want to lead by example. And I think I've shown them positivity. I think I showed them that, I rise up every day, but my struggles are not their struggles. And as a team leader, I just don't see the agent sitting in front of me. I see their partner. They have kids. The dog is sick. They haven't had a sale like in 3 months. I used to be a teacher and I would see all 32 kids, and they all had different struggles. And it's the same thing with the agents. How do I reach each of the agents with the struggle where they are right now? And that's what Joey always says. We have to meet them where they are. And it's hard. And I hope I set a good example for them. I hope I take them down the path where we can laugh and I can help them get on a better path. I don't know, Jared, my mind's all over the place. I hope I'm a good leader. I don't know. It's hard. There's 22 of them and, 15 or there's, oh my God, I'm losing my thoughts. It's hard. It really is. We've got to keep them on the straight and narrow. There's days where they're like, Zillow, they wanted to know what color the carpet was. What was the flooring in there? They ask all these kinds of questions and they're like, we're Pop-Tart agents and you've got to redirect them. And it's hard some days because some days I feel exactly the same way that they do. But Zillow it's a privilege. And we all know that, but there's days just like in everybody's lives where it's hard some days. And you have to give them the opportunity to vent and work through it and get back to laughter and get back to center. We're not allowed to unpack. You can't stay there.
No, exactly. We can't sit in that. So Mel, go for it.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Yay! Welcome to the morning.
So real quick, just two big takeaways. My cat's going to get in here.
I love it.
Surviving to thriving in your mindset is all about taking ownership. And I know that sounds trite, but it really is. Whether you're on a team or your team lead, you have to take ownership of your business. Just like you would take ownership of a role in a W-2 position, you have to take ownership of your business. You're running a business. You are an entrepreneur. You wake up every day looking for business, not for it to be handed to you. Secondly, when you hit a slump, I try to flip the whole table in 2 hours, right? I'm going to have all this action. I'm going to call 3,000 people and I'm going to do this. That does not provide clarity, right? We need to go back to the basics, do a couple of things, reach out to 3 or 4 past clients, reach out to 4 or 5 new prospects, and get out in the community and take some action to start moving you forward. When the phone rings, pick it up. You have to have the mindset that you are saving this person from working with an inept. You are saving them from having a horrible experience. You are looking at them as a human who has worries, concerns, hopes, dreams. And when you do that and you put it all together, you're going to be happy that phone is ringing.
That's good.
Somebody said, I'm glad you got your mic worked out.
I obsess about them. I'm constantly looking, and all that does is create anxiety. So if you just lead with service and looking at these people as human beings, the rest of the crap comes, right? It all will come together. And the more you do this, the more you're going to realize that's what happens. And it's just going to become more natural for you.
Yeah. Well said. Like, I think that is, I talk to agents all the time, and I'm sure we all have, and people who are watching this, you talk to agents and like, they're in a bit of a slump, and then they're like, I'm going to go call 100 people a day. And then
No, you're not.
that first day, the day after, they call 3 and they feel like, I only called 3, so I'm horrible. I'm just not going to call anybody else ever again.
That comes with the reps and the practice as well, right? Because on the other side of the field, like I think I totally agree with what Mel is saying. Like you have to take actions that are reasonable to be consistent with, but at the same time, the fastest way to get out of an anxious state of mind is just taking massive action, and effort negates all luck. So if there's anything that you can control in your business, it really is the effort. And when you're in a slump, I'm not saying your business always has to go this way, but if you're in a slump, the quickest and most guaranteed way to get out of that is to just commit to a cadence and a practice of something that you can do at such an unreasonable level that it would be impossible for you not to win. And what I mean by that is it might totally suck, but if I'm in a slump and I know I need a paycheck in the next 30 days, I can commit to going in and making as many calls as I need to have 25 conversations a day. And it would be totally unreasonable that I didn't win if I really committed to that. So again, not saying that has to be your entire business. That's not reasonable to continue that. But if you're in a slump, the easiest way to get out of that anxious state of mind is just to take action. And I love what Mel said about how you really look at these prospects. I couldn't agree more than that.
You guys, we have to remember the people on the other side of the phone are human.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And like you said, they have hopes and dreams of finding a place for their family. So why don't we give them that service? So there's 2 more questions I want to get through, and we only have a few minutes here. I think a lot of people get scared. What do you do? How do you handle fear of rejection and the slow months? Like, I think a lot of agents are like, are they going to like me? I don't think they like me. Like, how do you handle that? So Mel, I'll start with you, and then we'll go 2 minutes each.
Well, I want everyone to like me. I'm such a people pleaser. But I mean, you have to understand rejection isn't personal. And just because it's no right now doesn't mean it's no forever, right? So you have to get into the mindset that just because it's not right now, it doesn't mean no forever. And so, you have to start building relationships with them then, right? Because you want them to, when they are ready, to come back to you. But, rejection is going to happen. And you just have to put that to the side and focus on the people who do want to work with you, right? I think a lot of times it's just like in an open house. You have somebody who comes in and you spend so much time trying to convince the one person who's, talking crap about the house that they should love it, that you ignore like the 2 people who actually love it, right? So you need to focus on the people that want to work with you. The rejection will come. And you're not for everybody, and that's okay. And you have to learn to be okay with that. And I'm okay with it now. I used to chase people because I'm like, no, they've got to work with me. I want them to work with me. What's wrong with them? And it's okay, because there will be plenty of other opportunities of people who actually want to work with you.
Matt, go for it.
I'm a big believer that the fear and the anxiety of the uncertainty comes from a lack of preparation and skill. I firmly believe that your agents aren't afraid to make the call. They're afraid of not having the correct response when the person on the other line hits them with something they're not prepared for. They're not afraid of prospecting and they don't freeze just because it's something that you guys don't practice, right? If I told you that I had a magic pill that you could take every day and lose 50 pounds with no negative side effects, and it's the best thing in the world, you'd call every single person in your phone book without any hesitation, without any fear. So I'm a believer, you need to work, you need to practice, you need the reps, you need to make these calls, you need to be out in the field doing these showings so that you're not practicing on your clients when you're in front of them. You need to have the skill set and be prepared. You need to know what to say and believe that you're really coming from a place of value and you can serve these people. If you're really coming from a place that you believe you're the best fit for them and you can really help them whenever the time's right to transact, you'll make the phone calls.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a matter of just being confident in your skills and getting the reps in so that you don't feel like you're practicing on the clients. And then I really do believe that the fear will kind of dissolve after that.
Awesome. Ashley.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that in what both Matt and Mel said. So confidence comes with reps, 100%. You also have to just be okay with not being the right agent for everyone. But I also flip that around and I say, not every client is the right client for me, right? And that's okay. If we're not in alignment, like out the gate, I might give it a chance, but eventually we may have that conversation of, hey, I'm not the right agent for you, and that's okay. And I want you to have the best agent for you, right? Now that gets easier with time and experience. It also gets easier when you're on track for your goals, because then you can look at your pipeline and say, yes, like I can walk away from this one and be okay with that. But I've also found when I walk away from
Another mic drop on that one. Absolutely. So, Karen, what would you say to your agents?
You guys, I said it before, I'll say it again. More no's get you to a yes. And listen, I was extra before it was a thing, and I am not a fit for everybody. Everybody here knows me. It's the truth. And I used to get upset. I used to make phone calls, and Joe and our desks faced each other. Joe's like, why do you get mad? I'm like, because I would have been fun. They didn't even give me an opportunity. And Joe's like, oh my God, move on. It took me a long time to get comfortable. If you don't role play, if you don't practice, as Matt says, if you don't do the reps, you are going to be petrified every time you pick up that phone. You're not going to be good because you don't know what to say. You don't know how to serve them. You've got to put in the time. Baptism by fire, I do. I throw a lot of the new agents on the phones and I give them the oldest leads because they've got to get past it. But you've got to do the reps. You've got to do the role play. You've got to get to your one-on-ones. You've got to do the work. So when you get on that phone, I don't care if you're my daughter who's 21 years old and a new agent, she needs to know exactly what to say, just like the 53-year-old who's been doing it, since 2003. You got to put the work in for sure.
I love that, guys. Whoa. I tell you, I thought like these segments were going to be like, my goodness, we're going to have to like try to find things to say.
We all talk.
It might be 8 hours and not 4 hours. So I want to thank each and every one of you for spending some time with us on the panel today.
Jared, real quick, Dennis had a question about getting out in the community real quick.
Yes.
I am the biggest introvert you will ever meet. I don't mind meeting like possible serial killers at homes that I don't know, but like talking to people scares me. So what I do is I force myself to go into my local community, meet with the business owners, get to know them on a name to name basis. And that helps me get over the fear of picking up the phone, right? So it's just, I know we all know ourselves. We know what our strengths and weaknesses are, but I challenge you to do that because the more you do that, the more the picking up the phone doesn't matter.